Hello, this is Tiffany Norday. I'm here to talk about access to college scholarship information and also the importance of education on college scholarship, specifically for students of color and even more specifically for students of African American descent. As it relates to middle schoolers and high schoolers gaining early access to that important information and details about applying for college scholarships to go to school. A big bulk of the studies that I looked at were qualitative in nature, and some of the studies explored the following: career and educational aspirations, college choice methods, college barriers, college access and opportunities, educational and emotional support, and contact shapers, which are your parents, siblings, coaches, mentors, and also it boils down to sometimes your location, whether it's the suburbs or the city or rural area. Those are considered your contact shapers. And last but not least, your motivations. What are the motivations that your 8th grader, your 9th grader, your 10th grader, 11th grader, your 12th grader have, and how did those change from grade to grade? And do we see any improvement or growth as far as motivation? I want to share with you a great example of the potential of what different cities, organizations, even school entities could possibly do. While universities seek donors for building projects or facility-based funding, it's argued that these same donors and philanthropy groups should redirect their funds towards student-based funding within higher education with the goal of creating gift and aid programs. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. For instance, the Kalamazoo Promise is a program that provides college scholarships to graduates of Kalamazoo Public Schools, a mid-sized urban school district in Michigan that is racially and economically diverse. Anonymous donors have promised to pay up to 100% of college tuition for any Kalamazoo Public Schools, or what they call KPS, graduates who attend a public college or university in Michigan. Scholarships start at 65% of college tuition for students who enroll in KPS in 9th grade and stay until they graduate. And this percentage increases to 100%, especially for those students who have attended KPS since kindergarten to the time that they graduate. Now, this scholarship is not limited to students with strong academic records or demonstration of financial need. The only requirement is for a student to simply get into college and maintain a 2.0 grade point average while being enrolled. Simple, right? Then some other cities have jumped on the bandwagon and have created promises in their local cities. Like there is a Lansing Public School promise that anyone that graduates from the Lansing Public Schools can receive 2 years of education from the community college level. Researchers of the Kalamazoo Promise found that GPAs for specifically African American students increased by 0.2 points the year the program was announced. From there, the next year it increased to 0.3 points to the second year, and by a remarkable 0.7 points the following year, which was the third year of the program. One could say that by alleviating the financial barrier, access would be more attainable than in previous years. Those are small amounts, but yet those numbers represent quite a few students who did take advantage of the Kalamazoo Promise. I get a lot of times, well, there's no money that's out here. We don't know where it's at. We don't know where to look. One organization that is always at the top of my list is your community foundation that is in every city. In the city of Grand Rapids alone, one organization called the Grand Rapids Community Foundation in the year 2016-17 school year, they awarded grants and scholarships in excess of $13 million to nonprofits and students in West Michigan alone. Secondly, I am a part of a resort organization myself called Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. In one day, we raised $1.2 million in one day for students who are choosing to go to HBCUs, historically black colleges. So money is out there, and so that is part of the problem, is trying to help people who might not have the access to information. It seems as though the conversation needs to take a shift. Now, a lot of focus has been driven on college access, getting access into the college facility, into the college building, into the college grounds. Now the conversation needs to change to access to information, access to funds to send and to maintain one's attendance in college. Because out of the $13 million that they gave out in scholarships and grants to nonprofits and students in 1 year, only 35% of those scholarships were awarded to students of color. Now we all know we use the term students of color as a blanket statement. There's a conglomerate of African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, Asian Americans, and the list goes on. In summary, as I look back at some of the things that I mentioned in this particular segment, one being the Kalamazoo Promise, an economist, specialist by the name of Timothy Bartik. He focuses on urban economy and also college access. And in relation to the Kalamazoo Promise, one of the things that he observed in his research was the growth, usage, and success of the Kalamazoo Promise. One of the key highlights within his research, he claims that these efforts of giving access and lifting the financial burden for those that stayed in the Kalamazoo Public School District were already showing some positive effects to students' behavior while they're in school. What teacher would not love that? That lifting the burden of college access would directly connect to the behavior of students while they're in middle school and high school. He saw that specifically that GPAs of African American students had increased. On the other hand, when the burden of finances are lifted, then hopes of college access and completion looks less bleak than before. Another researcher by the name of Warnock evaluated these disparities in his article, which was called Inequalities at the Outset, Racial, Ethnic, and Socioeconomic Differences in Parents' Perceptions of Paying for College. I know that was a long title, but it was a very interesting article. He reported in that article that the combination of a lack of money plus the lack of information equates a hopeless perception, ultimately contributing to the fragmentation of a person's truth or worldview of what is attainable and what is not attainable, which directly plays out in most often students' behavior in the classroom and so forth. Another researcher by the name of Chen suggested that financial aid was an influencer on dropout behavior in college. So there's another level of behavior that is displayed. And we all know that when you drop out, if you take out loans, they go with this particular article that he takes a qualitative look at the transition of students from high school to college among blacks and also low-income students And the findings showed that their circumstances played significant roles in their college choices. I can relate to that because I got a Pacific scholarship that paid for my tuition for 4 years. I made the decision to go to that particular college. So it wasn't necessarily my choice to go to Western Michigan University, although it was it turned out to be an okay choice. But I had a desire. Now I am a state fan, but I had the desire to go to U of M. It came down to making my college visit with me and my parents. At the time, I had not started my college scholarship journey, so it was practically impossible. Came from a low-income family, and so we had no idea of how to support my educational journey there. So I had to follow the money. One tidbit before I end, a group of researchers put together a journal article called Parental Involvement in College Planning, which can be found in the Multicultural Educational Journal. The researchers were Hines, Border, Gonzalez, Henderson, and Villaba. And they came up with I thought it was a very conceptual article that was practical in its implication that high school counselors could use in sitting down with parents to develop a college access plan that was centered around developing a financial plan. How are we going to get your student, son or daughter, to college financially? This is what we're going to work on. This is the school that you said that you want to go to. This is the amount that it costs to go to this school, and we're going to walk through this plan to get you to your goal. I have found that to be a plan that brings about accountability and also transparency, and brings a reality, a wake-up call for the student that most of the time, this is a time where we need some skin in the game. If you want to get to XYZ college or university, this is the dollar amount. Most times, high school students are shocked by the dollar amount that is before them. But if we get that dollar amount before them years before their graduation year, then we can develop a plan of this is how much we need to obtain in order to get you to your plan A. Because the goal is to try to shift students into this mindset that your dreams can come true. You can go to the school that you want to, and that whether you attend, whether you are part of a low-income family, middle-income family, or higher-income family, funds should not play so much of a factor in determining your future. All in all, I have found the start of this research project to be a collaborative collection of qualitative studies, ecological frameworks, historical transitions, and practical narratives that have been set in motion to hopefully provide better opportunities for African American middle and high school students who are pursuing college education, with the hopes that they'll have little to no college loans. Thank you.